Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube page. If you could do me a quick favor, see that little subscribe button at the bottom of your screen? Go ahead, click that subscribe button. Really does help our channel grow, our audience grow, and I really do appreciate it more than you know. So click that subscribe button. Appreciate your support. Now, here's the video that you came here for. Ball transfer portal. Now, a quick reminder. We have our college football portal pages on Twitter and Instagram, updating constantly. News, notes, names, visits. Make sure you're following CFB Transfers on Twitter, CFB Transfers on Instagram for all of your late-breaking college football transfer portal notes. With that said, there is one very specific school that I do want to talk about. So let me even backtrack. We did who's in on Monday. We did who's in, Jackson Arnold, Connor Wigman, whatever. What I want to focus on right now, though, is one school specifically, and it is a school that we talk about a lot here on the Aaron Torres Pod and Aaron Torres Pod YouTube channel. It's the Colorado Buffaloes, okay? Because obviously, look, everybody's looking to make moves in the portal. Everybody's looking to upgrade their rosters, but it is clear that Colorado has prioritized the portal in ways that many other schools haven't, okay? But at the same time, what I would also say is this. If you're quietly watching behind the scenes, if you're quietly following the portal, if you are quietly following our CFB Transfers page on Twitter and Instagram, you know that Colorado, all of a sudden, after 2 years where they've been really good in the portal, they are now big game hunting. They are in the mix for virtually every single elite player in the portal. And I think there is a chance that we could be talking about a generational type offseason for Coach Prime in Colorado, okay? And a little bit of backstory, a little bit of context here on Coach Prime and his portal approach. This is now his third year in the portal at Colorado, okay? Year one, December of 2022, he takes the job, and it was mayhem. He obviously does the famous speech, I'm bringing my own luggage, it's Louis, whatever. And listen, I actually have no problem with what he did. I know some people didn't like it, some people whatever, but he basically just said, you guys were the worst team in college football. You aren't committed. You aren't dedicated. I'm bringing in my own guys, and I'm doing it my own way. So he ran off, what was it, like 60, 65, 70 guys off the 85 that he inherited. I don't know the numbers off the top of my head. Colorado fans, you can correct me in the comments in the chat. But at the same time, he ran off a bunch of guys. And I really think year one in the portal, they just needed new bodies. Now, you could argue, did he run off too many guys? Did he bring in too many new guys? Because transparently, outside of Shedeur, outside of Travis Hunter, outside of Shiloh Sanders, there were a lot of holes on that first roster. I don't completely blame Coach Prime. I don't completely blame anybody. That's the truth of taking over the worst team in college football like he did at Colorado. Last offseason, though, he kind of figured out, okay, who are the guys that I have in this program that can play at this level? Some of them are guys I brought from Jackson State. Shedeur, Travis Hunter, Cameron Silmon Craig, who was phenomenal this year, etc. But then it was also about where are the holes that still need to be filled? And I thought last year he did a good job of upgrading with really talented players that maybe weren't seen as the elite of the elite in the portal. Now, there were a few guys. I remember Will Shepard, who is a wide receiver, was at Vanderbilt, was deemed to be one of the best portal players available. They got him. BJ Green, defensive end from Arizona State, was all Pac-12 last year. But there were also a lot of guys that were a little bit under the radar. Preston Hodge comes from, I believe it was Liberty, was phenomenal. I don't remember him being on the top of all these portal lists. LeJante Wester was 1,000-yard receiver at FAU. I don't remember him being at the top of all the portal lists. Well, I bring it up because year two worked like gangbusters. They hit on the right guys at the right spots, and we saw the results, 9-3. What became interesting, though, all offseason, as they're continuing to win, you start to say, well, wait a second now. If they did okay in year one and actually very well in year two, what would they do in the third offseason coming off of a 9-win season? Well, we are starting to get the answers, because every elite player that is in the portal seems to be interested in Colorado. Let's quickly rip through some of the names, and we'll have time to react and analyze as these kids commit. But keep in mind, a couple of them already have visits set up to Colorado. You go back to last year. If Coach Prime gets you on campus, the batting average is like Pete Rose in his prime. Coach Prime don't miss if he gets you on campus. Remember the first portal weekend Last year, he had like 6 offensive linemen on campus. They all committed. Then the next weekend, he had like 6 defensive linemen on campus, and they all committed. I mean, he bats like 900, probably closer to 1,000 when he gets on campus. But first off, I thought this was really interesting. Monday night, Pete Thamel, ESPN, tweeted out that Jaheim Otis, who many believe is the number 1 defensive lineman in the portal, he's taking a visit to Colorado this week. I don't know if it's going to be during the week. I don't know if it's over the weekend, but this is a kid, former high 4-star, low 5-star, played 3 years at Alabama, was really good in year 1 under Nick Saban. Then year 2 had a lot of injuries. And then this past year with Kalen DeBoer, he had some injuries and he ended up just basically opting out of the season, taking his red shirt, whatever. But I'm here to tell you, listen, I'm not a defensive lineman analyst expert, but everybody that knows ball, I mean, I know ball, but I'm not a scout. They tell you like this guy might be the best single player in the portal. He's taking a visit to Colorado. That might be his first visit. And the way Coach Prime does things, that might be his only visit if things go well. So Jaheim Otis is coming to campus. Right before we came to air, let's stick with former Alabama players. Caleb Odom was a former 5-star player who played at Alabama this past year, 5-star wide receiver in the class of 2024. Now, what was interesting about Caleb Odom? He played high school ball in Carrollton, Georgia. Why is that noteworthy? Carrollton, Georgia is the place that the kid who's committed to BYU, who's committed to Colorado, Julian Lewis. Remember Julian Lewis? We talked about him when he committed last week. 5-star, or I guess it was 2 or 3 weeks ago. 5-star player from Carrollton, Georgia. Caleb Odom is his former high school teammate. Well, I bring it up because after the season ended, Caleb Odom decided to enter the transfer portal. And right before we came on air, you know what Hayes Fawcett tweeted out? Hayes Fawcett tweeted out that Caleb Odom is visiting Colorado this weekend. So you start to look at how things are shaping up. Like this is the perfect example of how a relationship could help. The relationship helps get the kid to campus. The relationship helps with an introduction. Julian Lewis played with him, and now he could visit Colorado and commit before the end of the weekend. Caleb Odom, by the way, 7 catches in his first year at Alabama, kind of got lost to some older guys on the depth chart. But I'm here to say this. If you're a 5-star in high school out of Georgia, you can ball. And we could talk about this school, that school, interest, whatever, blah, 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 blah. If he's going to Colorado and he's visiting and his former high school quarterback might be the starting quarterback next year, probably will be the starting quarterback next year, there's a pretty good chance that you get him. Speaking of quarterbacks, I thought this was interesting. We talked about this a little bit on the show on Monday. Caden Salter from Liberty. This was a kid that was a force 2 seasons ago. 32 touchdown passes, 12 rushing touchdowns, over 1,000 yards rushing during the 2022 season, or 2023 season, excuse me. This past year, he gets hurt. There was a report on Monday that he's going to visit Syracuse and that Florida State and Colorado are on the board as well. Now, it's interesting because I don't know that we even really thought that Colorado was going to aggressively pursue quarterbacks in the portal this offseason. They have Julian Lewis, the 5-star, coming in. And I kind of thought, are you even going to take another quarterback? Well, they're not only going after quarterbacks, they're going after maybe the biggest one available in the portal in Caden Salter. And again, you get that kid to campus. You sell him on, hey, 1 year, come here. We've obviously produced a Heisman Trophy caliber quarterback in Deion Sanders, even though he's not going to New York, which is kind of silly, but that's another conversation for another day. But I just bring it up because you look at what Colorado has done with Shedeur. You look at what they will do with Julian Lewis, and you just sit there and say, are they selling him on, come here, be the bridge quarterback? We're going to put you in great position. All of our games are on TV. People care. Play well for us. Tutor Julian Lewis, almost like a Graham Mertz, DJ Lagway situation at Florida this year. And we're going to put you in position to get drafted, whatever. Now, I'm not saying he's going to commit to Colorado, but the fact that they're even getting a visit with a 5-star committed in the 2025 class tells you that Colorado is a serious player in his commitment. A couple other names. Bear Alexander. Now, this one's a little interesting because Bear Alexander, right before we came on air, it was reported that he has 3 visits set up: Oregon, SMU, and also Penn State. Okay. So Colorado right now is kind of on the outside looking in, but I saw 24/7 Sports say Colorado is going to be a player for his recruitment as well. Former 5-star, started at Georgia, transferred, played 2 years at USC. And here we are right now. He entered the portal, another player that kind of took a red shirt in the middle of the year. And it seems like Colorado's at least going to be a factor. And then, oh, by the way, did you see what Jonte Cook, the former high 4-star, low 5-star at Texas, tweeted out on Sunday night into Monday? What did he tweet? He tweeted, or I guess it was more on Instagram. So Coach Prime posted something on Instagram, and Jonte Cook, under Coach Prime's Instagram post, said, "I ain't hard to find." So Jonte Cook, a former high 4-star, low 5-star, speedy guy. He reminds me a lot of like LeJonte Wester type, who was at Colorado this year. But he is a guy, you give him the ball in space, he's going to have success. 2 touchdowns this year at Texas. And I said it on the Monday show. I don't think it's that he's bad or he's disappointing. I just think that Texas receiver room is insane. They had A.D. Mitchell last year who got drafted. They had Xavier Worthy, who's obviously playing well with the Kansas City Chiefs. And then this year they bring in Ryan Wingo. They bring in a few guys from the portal. Jonte Cook kind of got lost in the shuffle, and he's in the portal, but that's another one. Could Colorado be in the mix for him as well? Now, I've seen other names that Colorado fans want. I won't necessarily put them out there because I don't think it's fair to a kid. Maybe Colorado's not interested in him, vice versa. But the point I'm trying to make is exactly what I said a second ago. Is I said, look, Colorado has been very successful recruiting the portal over the last couple years, and now they're going into the portal off of a season in which they just won 9 games. And so now you think about the recruiting pitch that Colorado has to sell to these kids. Just think about it. It's common sense. What were you selling a year ago? You're selling hope. You're selling promise. You're selling, by the way, playing time, because there's a lot of holes on that roster. You're selling the Coach Prime effect. You're selling TV, bright lights. As Dan Lanning once said, what did he say? Something about they're about clicks, we're about whatever. Well, I bring it up because if you thought Colorado was about clicks, they're about results now. And so now you're selling all the same stuff. Oh, we genuinely are one of the biggest draws in college football. We sell out everywhere we go. UCF, we went and it was mostly Colorado fans. I saw that they've basically already sold out the Alamo Bowl, where Colorado is going to be playing in a few weeks. And so we can sell all of the stuff that we did, but we also can sell proof of concept. We can also sell that it works. We can also sell that you come here, you can compete for top awards. Travis Hunter, I think, is about to win the Heisman. You can compete for, Shedeur Sanders being the number 1 pick in the draft. We're going to develop you, which I think is an important point that gets lost in the shuffle. Travis Hunter went to Jackson State, honestly, then to Colorado as the number 1 recruit in the country. He's probably going to be the number 2 pick in the draft behind Shedeur Sanders. Colorado did its job. Coach Prime did its job. That coaching staff did its job to put Travis Hunter in the best position to succeed. So now you could sell all that. The NFL model, Damian Lewis on that staff, Phil Lodeholt at the offensive line coach, Robert Livingston. And I know not all these guys are going to stay, but you get the point. They have a vision. That vision has been executed. And I think if you're a Colorado fan, you have got to be excited, because I think that team and that program is about to go on an insane recruiting run. I think it's going to be an offseason to remember in Colorado. And I think, first of all, the idea that Coach Prime was ever leaving, I never believed it. But now you definitely, I don't think, have to worry. And then 2, I'll also just say this, man, you have got to be excited about the possibility of the roster that they're going to put together. Remember, they had a much better high school recruiting cycle than they have in the past. I think they took 15 or 16 players, most of them 4 stars, 5 stars. Now I think they're going to crush in the portal. Speaking of which, as I said, make sure you're following our portal coverage. CFB Transfers on Twitter, CFB Transfers on Instagram. All of your late breaking portal news is available there. We appreciate your support. Also follow Torres on CU for all your Colorado coverage.